Hello everyone, I am Devan Ghosh, a student of 4th year BTech in Electrical Engineering. Today, I am here to give my BTP presentation. The topic of my project is coexistence of LTE and Wi-Fi technologies using MDPs and reinforcement learning. It comes under communication networks. I am doing this project under the supervision of Dr. KP Naveen sir. First, I would explain the problem statement. The aim of this project is to ensure coexistence of LTE and Wi-Fi technologies using MDP and reinforcement learning, or in other words, to enable access to LTE operators to use the unlicensed spectrum without severely degrading the performance of Wi-Fi devices. Now, I would like to give a brief overview of the work done in the last semester. Modeling an LTE base station as an MM1Q and simulating the Q lengths by varying different parameters such as arrival rate and service rate. Considering a system of one LTE base station and one Wi-Fi access point, and to find out the optimum airtime matrix using Q-learning based approach and other non-learning based approaches such as constant action and random action. Constant action policy is a simple one which uses a constant value of beta. In our case, it is taken to be 0.5. Random action policy chooses an action randomly from the available set of actions. Q-learning process is carried out in two stages, namely Q-learning initial phase and Q-learning steady phase. In the initial phase, the Q matrix values are initialized to 0 and are learned gradually. In other words, these Q matrix values are updated after each frame time. This is the learning phase of the Q learning algorithm. In the steady phase, the Q matrix values are obtained from the updated Q values from the initial phase. This is the testing or implementation phase of the Q learning algorithm. Here, it is to be noted that although these two are shown separately in the simulations, they are essentially considered as two phases of Q learning as a whole. Now, I will give a brief overview of the work done in this semester. Modeling two LTE base stations as MM1Qs and finding out the optimal airtime matrix using different actions, and simulating the Q lengths, discounted cost, and average discounted cost with respect to the frame times for each of these different actions. Now, let's understand the terms LTE and Wi-Fi. LTE stands for Long-Term Evaluation and is a wireless broadband standard. It is the fastest wireless network for smartphones and mobile devices. LTE offers higher bandwidth, meaning greater connection speeds and better underlying technology for voice calls and multimedia streaming. It is better suited for the heavier and bandwidth-hungry applications on mobile devices. Wi-Fi is the most popular means of communicating data wirelessly within a fixed location, which are commonly used for local area networking of devices and internet access. The main requirement for Wi-Fi is that there should be a device that can transmit the wireless signal like a router, phone, or computer. Another important term associated with Wi-Fi is contention time. Contention time is the minimum of all the counters of the Wi-Fi users that are present in the queue. If some Wi-Fi user has completed its contention time, it means the start of service time for that user. Let's see the similarities between these two. Both LTE and Wi-Fi are wireless communication technologies. Both these modulation schemes use orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, that is commonly known as OFDM. Now, coming to the differences between these two. They differ in the MAC algorithms. LTE uses a schedule-based MAC which requires central control, while Wi-Fi uses a contention-based MAC which can function in a decentralized approach. Wi-Fi computing devices must remain within 300 feet of a wireless router to maintain wireless network functionality, while LTE devices such as smartphones can be miles away from the base station. Now, let's analyze the simulation results. The first four slides of simulation results show the queue lengths with respect to the frame number for each of the four different actions that were previously mentioned. In the entire simulation, the arrival rates for both the LTs were taken as one user per unit time, while the service rate for both the LTE were taken as 10 users per unit time. Therefore, none of the next four plots shoot up to infinity. This particular plot is for the constant action policy. This one is for the random action policy. This one is for the Q-learning initial phase. This is for the Q-learning steady phase. Here, on analyzing all the four plots, it could be seen that for most of the time frames, the sum of both the Q lengths is the minimum for Q-learning steady phase. This plot shows the discounted cost versus the frame number for the four different actions. Q-learning steady phase gives the best performance across all the time frames as compared to the other three. Q-learning initial phase doesn't give good results because the Q values are initialized to 0 and these values are updated eventually, while for the Q-learning steady phase, the updated Q values are used. Although Q-learning initial phase and Q-learning steady phase are shown separately, these are the two phases of a single Q-learning algorithm. Similar analysis could be given to this one as the previous slide. Here, the only difference is the discounted cost is computed for 20 iterations and their mean is computed and displayed in the plot. Some of the conclusions are as follows. Q-learning steady phase gives the minimum discounted cost out of all the four policies. Therefore, Q-learning steady phase could be considered as the optimal policy. Even the cost incurred by Q-learning initial phase is high because in Q-learning initial phase the Q values are initialized to 0 and these values are updated eventually. The average discounted cost curves appear to be much smoother as compared to the discounted cost curves. All the curves become constant after the first few frames. This is for the discounted cost and average discounted cost. This is because the discount factor gamma is less than 1 and thus the later frames don't contribute much to the costs. Some scope of work that I have planned to do after the mid-sem evaluation. Extension of the present model as a system consisting of two LTE base stations and one Wi-Fi access point, varying the priority of one node over the other by changing the discount cost function. And if time permits, I have planned to vary the values of exploration constant epsilon and discount factor gamma and observe their effects. These are some of the references that I have used to make these slides as well as they have been useful for this project. Especially the first two references were quite useful for me. So that's it from my side. I would end my presentation here. I would like to thank all of you for patiently listening to my presentation. Last but not the least, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude towards my project guide, Dr. KP Naveen sir, for taking out time from his busy schedule and clarifying my doubts whenever I have asked him. Thank you, everyone.